Well, hello, everyone, and thanks for being with us. Unfortunately, we're not all in Chicago for RIMS 2021 this year, but as always, Sedgwick's tradition, we like to find a worthy organization and charity that even when we leave, that there's still a footprint that shows caring counts and our industry as a whole. And so my guest today, or our charity, is the Southern Smoke Foundation, and I have Katrina Bill, who is the Director of Case Management and Community Partnership, here to talk about Sedgwick. We donated some funds, and we want others to know how they can help as well. So Katrina, thanks for being with me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, let's just jump in. Tell us about the Southern Smoke Foundation, how it came to be, and we're putting the funds in Chicago, but I know you're a broader-based organization. So just tell our listeners what you do, how you've helped people during the pandemic, now going forward and across the board.
Sure. So our foundation was established in 2015. Chef Chris Shepard, who is a James Beard Award-winning chef located here in Houston, was notified that his friend and former sommelier was diagnosed with MS. And he felt he needed to try to do something because of the lack of health insurance and coverage that this individual was challenged with. So he went out, he recruited some of his chef friends and thought he would host a one-time event and maybe raise $10,000, call it a day, give a donation. Well, that event raised enough money to become the #1 third-party funder of the MS Society. And he realized then and there that there was a desperate need in the industry, and that he could use this to pivot into creating an opportunity to raise funds to give back to people in need. So that started. It was a one-time event that took place as a festival every year, and then Hurricane Harvey hit. And it was one of those the decision was made on the fly. No, we need to actually evolve into a crisis organization for people who are under emergency situations in the food and beverage industry. So that happened during Harvey. During Harvey, 280 people were funded in the Houston area. Within the first week of the pandemic, what we see as the onset of the pandemic, which was March 15th, we saw 20,000 applications alone in that week. So we overnight mobilized into one of the largest support organizations for the food and beverage industry. We've seen every type of crisis throughout the pandemic. We have had stories of people having to forfeit, their homes. We've had people having to put their children in the care of family members and friends because they have run out of resources. We're seeing homelessness. We are seeing battles with mental health issues. We have seen people in health crisis who cannot afford their medications, especially things like insulin that are very expensive. So we really have seen every type of scenario, and that's what we're here for. My team, the case management team, we run fast and furious. Everyone on my team is someone who was furloughed from the food and beverage industry. So they have truly walked the walk. And they work one-on-one with every person who applies to try to build a case. Now, every person does have to qualify. So we do have a few small guidelines, but as long as they qualify, then we can build a case for them to try to get them some funding.
That's great. And we were talking a little bit earlier before we started. Do you have a story or two? I mean, there's got to be so many, but probably you were talking about how far down it reaches, and maybe some examples for people out there, really how deep this goes.
Absolutely. So we have one that happened recently, and this story was kind of made an impact on all of us because this individual, he was industry, his wife industry, both lost, their jobs, have not been able to find something else. Their benefits their first and second round of benefits had run out. They were waiting for the third. They have multiple children in the home. They were renting from the wife's cousin, who is a fireman. So he was using this rental home as supplemental income for his family. So you can only imagine when they weren't able to pay then this person's not able to pay their mortgage. All of their bills for their utilities were extremely overdue. Because of moratoriums, they were protected not to have those bills, those services disconnected, but they would never be able to catch up on those bills. Medical things, things that the children needed, which was then kind of playing a part into the landlord's life as well. So we were able to talk to him, work with the family. We were able to fund all of that back due rent. He was able to get caught up on his mortgage. The family now is back on track, and they're going to be able to use this third round of stimulus and funding to get them through until they're able to go back to their jobs, which they've been told are waiting for them as soon as they can get to a better capacity to service, because they're both servers. So that was a really great and happy story for us, because a lot of times we're seeing people are facing issues with unemployment benefits. Food banks are running out of food in their local areas. Maybe their vehicle, or they don't have a vehicle. We've had a lot of people have to forfeit their vehicles. So it's not as easy to get around. And so that was a really great story. We have another one that's it's one of our big stories that took place a few months ago. There was a gentleman who faced a mental brain injury, just a complete breakdown, and not in a mental capacity, but his body just responded to a virus, and it wasn't COVID, it was something else. But because of COVID, he didn't go to the ER and wasn't treated. The result was a major brain injury. Didn't have health insurance. His family is all industry, from his mother to his sisters, cousins, everybody is food and beverage. They had used every resource at this point, and he was going to be released from the hospital with no option to go into a rehab facility, no option for further care. It was basically, you can put him in the one place he qualifies for, and then that's the best we can do. So we were able to fund him a fairly large grant to get him into a brain injury rehab facility that focuses particularly on what the kind of rehab he needs is. So we were able to fund that for 3 months so that we can give the family a chance to get him on Medicaid to receive continued care.
Wow, it gives me chills.
Yeah, we all cried that day.
Well, and these are all people we know, no matter where we live. The food and beverage service industry is so ingrained, and again, we would have, if we could have convened in Chicago with thousands and thousands of our fellow risk insurance, we would have been pouring into those restaurants and bars. And so, again, it's a very small token, but it meets with our values here at Sedgwick. And I know that those who are watching now from RIMS during this time are probably moved. So tell us, Katrina, how, if somebody else is out there, whether it's $5 or a larger donation, what can they do to get involved and help these hardworking people until we all can really get back in and pack those restaurants, especially in Chicago around Wrigley Field?
Yes. Absolutely. And as I said, a lot of our team members, they're all from the industry, so they would love that too. Donations, of course, we're always happy to receive your donation. Anything small, large, everything, we make it a very huge effort to get as much back out into the community as we can. You can go to southernsmoke.org and you can donate directly from our website, and also just see a little bit more about some of the cases and the stories, learn about some of our events. So really, that's the best way. Get back out there, be safe about it, but get back out there. Restaurants are opening again. Order to go, take things for pickup and delivery. Those are the best ways to support the industry. We know that there are a lot of virtual events going on because people just can't host the festivals that we want to, similar to conferences. So if you can buy a ticket and maybe partake in that way, that's a great way to support. Again, really, it's just getting a way to generate some funds back into the industry without putting yourself at risk. But, we just want to remind everyone, restaurants are taking every safety measure they can. We're encouraging a lot. We're part of that initiative to make sure that employees are being safe too, and we're keeping them safe as well. A lot of them are from the most vulnerable populations. So just know that restaurants are doing their very best to protect you. So please just don't hesitate getting back out there.
Thank you, Katrina, and thank you for what Southern Smoke Foundation is doing. And again, we urge you, if you're watching, go out, give a little, especially if you're going to be at RIMS this year, or again, order in your own community. Like I said, if you're going to watch a session coming up during the next couple of weeks, do a takeout, do a pickup, whatever that is, right? So it all helps.
Yes. And if you go to our website, there are a lot. We have so many partnerships in Chicago with even a lot of alcohol providers. So if you're going to have a party, most of them are donating something back from their sales. So anything, we'll take it in any way we can get it. Thank you so much.
But as a reminder, you're helping people all across the country too. Just because it's called the Southern Smoke Foundation, this is West Coast, East Coast, right? North,
yes.
South.
All over the nation. We do have a fund specifically for Chicago, but we service everyone throughout the United States.
Fantastic. Thanks, Katrina. And
thank you.
Let's get out there and go eat, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.